Parak Mishameis Daf Kuf Mem Gimel, sponsored the Refuah Shlema for Yehudis Bas Nechama. Yesterday's daf concluded with a dispute concerning a gift made by a father to his living son, declaring, acquire as those sons born to be in the future. They will only be entitled to their inheritance. Amoraim disputed whether the living son is entitled to the gift or only an inheritance, concluding that he is not entitled. The reason: if one said to another, acquire like a donkey, just as the donkey does not acquire, so too the person compared to it. Similarly, sons not yet conceived do not acquire, so too the living son compared to them. A question: if the conveyor stipulates at v'chamor, you and the donkey, instead of at kichamor, what is the law? The answer: the Gemara presents a three-way dispute. Number one, Rav Nachman holds he intended the recipient acquire half. His wording indicates the recipient's acquisition is not dependent on the donkey acquiring. Number two, Rav Hamnuna holds he acquires nothing. The mere association with the donkey indicates no intention to convey anything to him. Number three, Rav Sheshes holds he acquires the full amount. The conveyor intended to convey the full amount to whoever could acquire. A proof. Number one is not permitted to tithe superior produce with inferior produce. Rabbi Yossi holds one who tithes with a partly bitter vegetable should add from the sweet part of another to prevent tithing superior with inferior. However, Rav Sheshes questions the efficacy of tithing with a vegetable only partly usable for tithing, since he does not tithe the sweet part by the sweet part and the bitter part by the bitter part. Using the sweet and bitter parts to tithe is similar to at v'chamor. The answer: at v'chamor cannot be compared to tithing because me'ikar adin, one can tithe superior produce with inferior. However, under no circumstances can a donkey acquire. The source: the Torah states, Lo sisu alav chet, barimchem eschelpo mimenu. When fulfilling your tithing obligation, do not sin. Do not fulfill the mitzvah with inferior produce, considered sinful, although technically permissible. The proof. Number two, a man proposed to a group of 5 women, 2 of them sisters. 3 of the 5 are married, excluding the 2 sisters. He conveyed a basket of figs to one, acting as agent on behalf of all 5 women. This is a case of at v'chamor. Just as the marriage is ineffective in relation to the sisters, it should be ineffective in relation to the other 3. The refutation. Abai in the Gemara Kiddushin avoided this question by reinterpreting his proposal. He did not say, all of you are married to me. He said, anyone fit to cohabit with me shall be married. This condition restricts his proposal to the 3 non-sisters, making it not a case of at v'chamor. The Gemara brings a dispute concerning an estate conveyed to an individual and a group, such as his wife and her sons. How is it distributed? Rabbi Yosef holds his wife receives half. The proof. Number one, the Torah states concerning the 10 loaves of a mincha offering distributed to the Kohanim, B'haisa la'aron uvanav. Rav explains the Torah mentioned Aaron separately to teach he receives the same amount as the group. The refutation. Abaye distinguishes the 2 cases. Had the verse left out Aaron, he still would receive a portion of regular Kohen. The verse mentioned him to teach he is entitled to more than a regular portion. However, a wife not included in the gift would receive nothing. She doesn't inherit her husband. Her inclusion proves only that she is entitled to a share equal to her sons. This is similar to a case where a king in Eretz Yisrael imposed a tax on the rich and officers to pay for his crown. Although the rich could afford to shoulder a larger percent of the tax, Rebbe required them to share it equally. Even before the writ, the king knew the officers contributed to the lesser degree. Rebbe concluded his insertion of them in the writ indicated he wanted their equal participation. Number two, one took upon himself the obligation to bring a large mincha offering of 100 siyim, stating, L'havi b'shtei kelim, to be brought in 2 vessels. It must be brought l'chatchila in one of 60 and one of 40. Only after the fact, 2 of 50 are acceptable. If the rule 2 groups mentioned indicates an equal division, 2 vessels of 50 should be lechatchila. The refutation. Since he initially consecrated a large mincha offering, his intent was to put as much of it as he could legally in 1 vessel. Generally, the halacha follows Rabbah when he disputes Rav Yosef. Here the halacha follows Rav Yosef. The wife is entitled to half of the estate and her sons to the other half. Rav Ami states a father who sends women's clothing without specific instructions, if his daughters are single, they are entitled. If they are married, his daughter-in-law is entitled. One with a son and daughter stipulated his estate goes to his sons, plural. Is he conveying his son a sickbed gift to exclude his daughter from the rabbinic enactment of 10% for her dowry, or is it his intent to include her in the gift? The Gemara brings verses from the Tanakh that the plural sons is used in reference to one, indicating the exclusion of his daughter. Similarly, one son and a grandson, the plural sons do not apply to the grandson. If you're enjoying Daf and 5, please click on the link below, subscribe and become a sponsor. Thank you.